dry blood on a rusted blade. I hold the feather like a torch above the grave. Your shadow stretches long across the marble floor, while hunger rattles at the hinges of my door. I see the trap beneath the velvet and the gold. I know the lies the ancient prophecies foretold. The scales are tipped with heavy lead and broken glass. I watch the seasons and the fleeting empires pass. You offer crowns that burn the brow and freeze the brain. I trade my pulse to be the master of the rain. There is no mercy in the script that we have drawn, only the freezing light before a hollow dawn. Take the marrow and the memory and the name. Let the kingdom flicker in a dying flame. I will sign away the sky to rule the dirt. I will feed on every malice and be heard. The price is jagged and the dead is etched in stone. I choose to sit upon a wreckage all alone. My conscience is a bird that hit a jagged wire. I toss my virtues in the belly of the fire. Do not mistake my smile for any kind of grace. It is the mask that hides a disappearing face. I am the architect of my own darkest sins, buying the world with every heartbeat that I spend. Take the marrow and the memory and the name. Let the kingdom flicker in a dying flame. I will sign away the sky to rule the dirt. I will eat on every malice, every hurt. Your price is jagged and the jet is etched in stone. I choose to sit upon a refuge all alone. Shadow that passes her by. The floorboards are creaking beneath heavy boots. She's pulling the weeds from the deepest of roots. The copper is tarnished, the silver is stained. She measures the loss by the gallon of rain. A knock on the timber, a chill in the air. The smell of the sulfur is tangled in hair. No gavel is needed, no jury is called. The dead is a mountain and you have been walled. She brushes a stray walk away from her eyeball, carving a map through a charcoal sky. The balance is tilting toward the abyss, sealed with the grace of the serpentine kiss. The trigger is heavy, the hammer is poised. Silence is louder than any old noise. She settles the tally with lead and a grin. The cost of the labor, the price of the sin. The barrel is steady, the teeth are so white. A flash in the kitchen, a hose in the night. 6 chambers of mercy, all polished and cold, paying the ransom for stories untold. The merchant is trembling, the banker is pale. His promises vanished like vapor and hail. She doesn't want paper, she doesn't want gold, just the pound of the flesh that was legally sold. The smoke is a ribbon that dances and swirls, the meanest of lessons for greedy old worlds. The cupboard is empty, the cellar is bare, but justice is brief. the breaking down wheel. The balance is tilting toward the abyss, sealed with the grace of a serpentine kiss. The trigger is heavy, the hammer is poised. Silence is louder than any old noise. She settles the tally with lead in a grin. The cost of the labor, the price of the sin. The barrel is steady, the teeth are so white, a flash in the kitchen, a hole in the night. 6 chambers of mercy, all polished and cold, paying the ransom for the stories untold. She settles the tally with lead and a grin. The cost of the labor, the price of the sin. The barrel is steady, the teeth are so white, a flash in the kitchen, a hole in the night. 6 chambers of mercy, all polished and cold, paying the ransom for stories untold. The golden towers crumble like bird bread crusts, falling down into the dry and hungry dust. I am sitting on this hill with a heavy iron key, watching the smoke drift over the gray and saltless sea. The stone faces crack and lose their noble names, while the wind whistles through the skeletons of window frames. You built your fences high and painted them in blood, but the rain came down and turned your marble into mud. The horses are all gone and the stables are on fire. The crown is sinking deep into the tangled briar. I remember when you stood so tall and cold and proud. Now you are just a shadow underneath a heavy cloud. The walls are folding in just like a deck of cards. The dogs are howling out in the ruined palace yards. The throne is splintered wood upon a barren floor, and nobody is knocking at the broken heavy door. The kingdom that you stole is melting in the sun, and I am still standing here when everything is done. The silk is tearing loose and the wine is turning sour. There is no clock to tell the final passing hour. You traded every soul for a bit of shining glass. Now the weeds are choking out the garden and the grass. I saw you counting coins while the children went to sleep. Now the harvest that you planted is the one you have to reap. The walls are folding in just like a deck of cards. The dogs are howling out in the ruined palace yards. The throne is splintered wood upon a barren floor, and nobody is knocking at the broken heavy door. The kingdom that you stole is melting in the sun, and I am still standing here when everything is done. The door hinges do not even creak. The heavy conversation turns thin and weak. She brings a silence that travels through the bone, like a satin king sitting on a borrowed throne. The card games freeze and the glasses stop mid-air. There is a strange gravity in the way she pins her hair. The compass needle spins until it finally breaks. The map is just a souvenir of old mistakes. Every vow is a shadow crawling across the floor. No one remembers what they were fighting for. She enters sudden bloom. Every man forgets the banner that he used to hold, trading his own convictions for a glimmer of gold. She is the only truth in a house full of lies, the sovereign of a kingdom behind her eyes. The general forgets the border he was meant to guard. The poet finds the simple words are suddenly too hard. She does not carry a weapon or a heavy silver key, but she unlocks the prisoners who thought that they were free. Long-standing grudge dissolved like sugar in the rain. A lucky man discovers he has everything to gain. The compass needle spins until it finally breaks. The map is just a souvenir of old mistakes. Every bow is a shadow crawling across the floor. No one remembers what they were fighting for. He enters like a tidal wave inside a tiny room, turning the winter garden into a sudden boom. Every man forgets the banner that he used to hold, trading his iron convictions for a glimmer of gold. She is the only truth in a house full of lies, the sovereign of the kingdom behind her eyes. She enters like a tidal wave inside a tiny room, turning the winter garden into a sudden bloom. Every man forgets the banner that he used to hold, trading his iron convictions for a glimmer of gold. She is the only truth in a house full of lies, the sovereign of the kingdom behind her eyes. She dipped her quill in the ink of old decree, mapping out the borders of who she ought to be. She sat upon the high stone porch with a heavy iron pen, drafting up the gospel for the daughters and the men. The ink was barely dry on the parchment on the floor when she realized the ceiling couldn't hold her anymore. The logic of the morning is the madness of the night. What used to keep her steady now just keeps her from the light. She's staring at the margins where the ink begins to fade, ready to dismantle every promise that she made. She writes the law, then sets the page on fire, a holy blaze of gasoline and singular desire. When the pillars start to crumble and the ink begins to sting, she burns the very temple just to hear the silence ring. The architect is dancing in the ashes of the frame, forgetting every syllable that makes up her own name. She built a cage of silver lines and called it liberty, but the wind began to whistle through the gap she couldn't see. Yesterday's salvation is today's rusted chain. She's walking through the deluge, but she's dodging all the rain. The gavel in her hand feels like a stone inside her palm. She's trading in the hurricane to find a divine calm. The logic of the morning is the madness of the night. What used to keep her steady now just keeps her from the light. She's staring at the margins where the ink begins to fade, ready to dismantle every promise that she made. She writes the law, then sets the page on fire, a holy blaze of gasoline and singular desire. When the pillars start to crumble and the ink begins to sting, she burns the very temple just to hear a silence ring. The architect is dancing in the ashes of the frame, forgetting every syllable that makes up her own name. Oh. sparks decide to land. The future is a handful of some uncollected sand. She doesn't need a witness and she doesn't need a tune, just a friction of a matchstick in a hollowed out room. If the truth becomes a shackle, then the truth has got to go into the belly of the furnace where the embers start to glow. She writes a law that sets the page on fire, a holy blaze of gasoline and singular desire. When the quartz start to crumble and the ink begins to ding, she burns the very chemical just to hear the silence ring. The architect is dancing in the ashes of the brain, forgetting every syllable that makes up her own name. She writes a law that sets the page on fire, a holy blaze of gasoline and singular desire. When the pillars start to crumble and the ink begins to sting, she burns the very temple just to hear the silence ring. The architect is dancing in the ashes of the brain, forgetting every syllable that makes up her own name. The heavy sky is curling into a blue shade of iron. Steel talons scrape against the underside of the horizon. There is a fever in the dirt where the shadows grow deep. Something is starving in the silence that swells underneath. Oh, the wolves of the wind are beginning to howl at the gates. Count the cold minutes as the clock face begins to bleed. A predator is planting a very specific kind of seed. The gravity is thickening like oil in a rusted shallow pan. There is no mercy left in the blueprint of master plan. The jagged edge of the evening is pressing against your skin. A wall that's closing in from every single side. There is nowhere left for a flickering soul to crawl and hide. The danger there is the post that's thumping in the hollow ground. Wait for the hammer of the midnight to make a final sound. The tension is a wire that is ready to snap and stay. The suffocating cloak is draped across the throat of the town. The golden statues are being melted and slowly cast down. Listen to the friction of the gears as they grind to a halt. Every prayer you mutter is being preserved in a vault of salt. The air is a fist and it is tightening its grip on the light. The vultures are circling a ghost that has forgotten its name. The smoke is rising from the gutter, but there is no visible flame. The locks are all turning and the keys have been thrown away. Do not bother looking for the ghost of a softer yesterday. The hunt is a map and you are the only path that it knows. The dark is a wall that is closing in from every single side. There's nowhere left for a flickering soul to crawl and hide. The danger is the post that's thumping in the hollow ground. Wait for the hammer of the midnight to make a final sound. The tension is a wire that is ready to snap a sting. Yeah. The dark is a wall that is closing in from every single side. There is nowhere left for a flickering soul to crawl and hide. The danger is the post that's thumping in the hollow ground. Wait for the hammer of the midnight to make a final sound. The tension is a water that is ready to snap and sting. The grandfather clock strikes the 13th bell. Across the mahogany with a darking fell. A circle of wolves in the tailed skies. Hiding the raisins with cold hollow eyes. We shook on the slaughter, we swore on the grave. While counting the souls, we were too late to save us. Smoke from the Havana's as thick as the night. A hunger for deeds that were forged out of spite. Old whiskey pours, heavy to drown out the sound. But we all knew the exit before we were bound. Your grin is a crack in your eyes, our snare. A map of the ruins you're eager to share. The ledger is bleeding, the ink still remains. A dead pile and death's like a ghost in the chains. No honor in tunnels, no light in the gloom. Just the rattle of teeth and the beat of the doom. The gaslight is fading, the hallway grows thin. The shadows are creeping like snakes on the skin. The vow was a bullet, the promise a lie. Now watch as the splendor is starting to die. Oh, the dawn is the hangman with gold in his hand. For the lies that were traded like grains in the sand. Tear up the contract and burn down the lies. The taste of the treason still burns in the skies. The sun is a witness, but I shot and right through the wreckage we left in the heat of the night. Everything shattered and everyone knew blood on the gavel was meant for you. By 5 in the morning the mass hit the ground. A kick to the ribs with no mercy around. You played for the crown but you fell in the mire. A king in a kingdom of ash and a fire. The river is rising to swallow the past of the crooked nose liars who froze in the blast. A handshake is nothing but a grip on a knife. A twist of the blade in the game of your life. The gaslight is fading, the hallway grows thin. The shadows are creeping like snakes on the skin. The vow was a bullet, the promise a lie. Now watch as the splendor is starting to die. Oh, the dawn is a hangman with gold in his hand. For the lies that were traded like grains in the sand. Tear up the contract and burn down the rise. The taste of the treason still burns in the skies. The sun is a witness with our sharp and bright. To the wreckage we left in the heat of the night. Everything shattered and everyone knew the blood on the gavel was meant for you. Like brains in the sand. Tear up the contract and burn down the lies. The taste of the treason still burned in the skies. The sun is a witness with eyes shining right to the wreckage we left in the heat of the night. Shattered and everyone knew the blood on the gavel was meant for you. The canal turns to eye and below the bridge. Heavy boots strike the cobblestones like a gallows ridge. The fog is a shroud sewn tight for the throat. Steel and soot weave the air like a rancid note. I carry the soot of the foundry in my veins. A ledger of debts etched deep in cold remains. Power is seized, not passed by a name, while the law sleeps where the wicked lay claim. The bells strike 12, but the dark stays the same. A curtain falls heavy on the bold and the vain. Touch the cold steel, feel the winter's plain. The alley's empire feeds on the grave. The crown is heavy fortune furnace flame. Walk through the fire and the empress will tame. Silent shark and Dane. The wasteland king calls his dues by name. Are just lies for the meek. I trust the hammer's tongue, its rhythm unique. Men beg for salvation on church floors weak, but salvation won't buy bread or coal for the bleak. Don't seek pity in eyes cold as stone. My heart's buried deep where the train tracks grown. The city hums dirges for those overthrown. The alleys grow tired to choke the sun's throne. The bells strike 12, but the dark stays the same. A curtain falls heavy on the bold and the vain. Touch the cold steel, feel the winter's claim. The alley's empire feeds on the grave. The crown is heavy, forging furnace flame. Walk through the fire and the embers will tame. Silence is mercy, all I can proclaim. A red of silence carved from night's cold frame. No gold, just a glint of sharpened aim. The wasteland king carved his dues by name. She blends into the velvet and the crowd. A lace carnation on a silk lapel. Watching every sinner buy and sell. They think she's drifting on a flaky note, counting every bubble in her throat. But underneath the table where the shadows sprawl, she's pulling on the wise and move them all. The mayor is sweating by the upright base, trying not to look at her vacant face. He's on the papers in a frantic scroll. Now he's laid upon the hammer, blow to fall. The precinct captains and the dockside kings are dancing like the puppets on her strings. She taps a rhythm with a silver ring while the heavy-fisted dancers start to swing. She is a silence in the middle of the roar, the hidden lock upon the counting room door, while the saxophone is wailing for a ghost. She's the one who's toasted by the host. The city is a gamble and the deck is thin. She decided long ago who's going to win. Tip the piano player just to keep the play and sweep the broken reputations away. A crooked dealer tries to catch her eye, but she's busy watching ice cubes slowly die. One little love, then the lights go dim. That's the final requiem for him. The sirens howl along the granite street, keeping time with the steady coast and beat. They see a lonely lady in the smoky haze, not the architect who built the killing maze. Not the architect who built the killing maze. She is the silence in the middle of the roar, the hidden lock upon the counting room door, while the saxophone is wailing for a ghost. She's the one who's toasted by the host. The city is a gamble and the deck is thin. She decided long ago who's going to win. Did the piano player just to keep the play and sweep the broken reputations away. The asphalt sweats beneath the copper moon. I'm walking past the windows of the Grand Saloon, where every smile is bought and every hand is cold, and truth is just a story that's already been sold. I've got a ledger filled with names over upper deck. Old man Miller's leaning on a rusted gate. He says the check is coming, but it's always late. The baker swears his oven broke a week ago, while hiding bags of flour in the yard below. I don't listen to the trembling in their hollow chests. I only see the numbers tucked inside their vests. Give me the silver or give me the gold. The promises he traded have all turned to mold in a town built on fabrications and sand. I'm the only one holding the weight of your hand. Pay the price for the games that you play before the final sun begins to fade. They say a lady shouldn't carry such a heavy load, but honesty is lonely on this crooked road. I've heard 1,000 versions of the same old plea, but mercy isn't something they can get from me. For every valley shattered like a pane of glass, I'm a shadow watching every hour pass. Mayor greets me with a polished toothy grin. He offers me a glass of gin and calls me kin. He talks of civic duty and the public good, while stealing timber from the common neighborhood. I leave his office with a heavy leather sack and never once consider looking back. Talent etched upon the city wall. The taller that they build, them the harder they fall. Don't bother looking for a soul to say. We're all just digging one another's grave. Give me the silver or give me the gold. The promises you traded have all turned to mold in a town built on fabrication and sand. I'm the only one holding the weight of your hand. Pay the price for the games that you played before the final sun begins to fade. She sits where the wood is scarred by heavy hands. A deck of faces waiting for a sign. She doesn't wash the chips or the shifting sands. She looks for the crack and the crooked line. The dealer's eyes are fixed on a hollow game, but she is reading the breath inside the room. To her it is never about the wealth or fame. It is about the flower emerging from the gloom. Men around are trading heavy silver coin. They count their losses before the cards are dealt. She feels the place where the ghosts and shadows join, gathering a warmth that the colder hearts once felt. The waiter brings a glass of common bitter wine. She sips it like it fell from a sacred spring, leaving behind the hunger and the design, taking back the melody that the losers sing. She walks away with more than she could carry in her grip, a heavy pocket filled with things that do not shine, the gold of every secret falling from a trembling lip, the vintage of a spirit pressed from a lonely vine. She leaves the table taller than the pillars in the hall, richer for the pieces of the world she saw today, collecting every whisper that was written on the wall, and walking out into the velvet of the night with 1,000 different colors tangled in her hair. Knowledge is the currency that never can be spent, a profit made of understanding how a circle bends. She knows exactly where the borrowed time was lent and how the broken beginning finally meets its end. The street lamps cast a glow upon her steady stride. She carries the weight of stories yet untold. No longer a stranger to the storms that howl inside. She has traded the copper for a different kind of gold. The chair she left is cold, but the air is burning still with the sparks of every lesson she was meant to find. Climbing up the slope of a steep and jagged hill, leaving the empty shells of the hollow man behind. She walks away with more than she could carry in her grip, a heavy pocket filled with things that do not shine. The gold of every secret falling from a trembling lip, the vintage of a spirit pressed from a lonely vine. She meets the table taller than the pillars in the hall, reaching for the pieces of the world she saw today, collecting every whisper that was written on the wall, and tucking all the stolen light safely deep away. She keeps a deck of cards face down against the wood, watching every shadow move just like she said it would. There is no mystery in the way the dust settles on the floor. She has already walked the path and bolted up the door. The morning light is heavy with the weight of what is gone. She reads the final chapter while the rest are waking on. The script was written long before the actors took their place. She recognizes every line upon your tired face. The wind is gathering the leaves and patterns she designed, leaving all the accidents and theories far behind. She holds the blueprint of the crash and the cooling of the fire, the inevitable silence at the snapping of the wire. It is not a premonition or a trick of crystal sight, just a steady understanding of the coming of the night. She has seen the closing curtain while the opening bells ring, and she knows the bitter winter that the sudden April brings. The prophets in the marketplace are shouting at the rain. She smiles at all the architects who try to mask the pain. She does not reach for levers or the handles on the wheel, knowing well the harness of the closing ton of steel. The suitcase in the hallway has been packed since yesterday. There are no magic spells to keep the reckoning at bay. The clock is ticking louder as the sun begins to fade. She is not surprised by debts that finally must be paid. The ink was dry before the pen ever touched the page. She stands within the center of a self-constructed cage. She holds the blueprint of a crash and the cooling of the fire, these inevitable silence at the snapping of a wire. It is not a premonition or a trick of crystal sight, just a steady understanding of the coming of the night. She has seen the closing curtain while the opening bells ring, and she knows the bitter purple rain. The brickwork bleed the sustained gray beneath the iron fist of day. But here the brass and sawdust blend, where every stranger seeks a friend. The tap room hums a heavy tune under a pale and greasy moon. Mind your pocket and your pride, there is no place for truth to hide. Old Arthur grips a chipped glass tight, recalling deaths from Tuesday night, while Mary sells a velvet lie with a sharpened glint within her eye. The ledger lives in every palm, a restless storm beneath the calm. The landlord counts the silver sides between the laughter and the lies. The tally climbs upon the wall before the winter shadows fall. A copper for a heavy soul to fill the cracks within the bowl. Oh, the heavy swing of a Brumtown night, where the tap stays long and the coins stay light. You take from him and he takes from me in a circle of broken company. We are bound by what we cannot pay in the smoky haze of the boring way. The furnace roar has long gone cold, but deads are new, though bones are old. The tailor owes the butcher's son for favors done and then undone. And all across the crowded floor means 20 more behind the door. The ink is thick, the blood is thin, and this temple built of gin. A fiddle scrapes a jagged line through the scent of hops and brine. Don't ask the cost of what you hold, it's worth its weight in stolen gold. The chimney sweeps and velvet gentry trade their sins at every entry. Nobody walks with pockets clear through the thicket of the pier. The tally climbs upon the wall before the winter shadows fall. A copper for a heavy soul to fill the cracks within the bowl. Oh, the heavy swing of a Brumtown night, oh, the tap stays long as the coin stole light. You take from him and he takes from me in a circle of broken company. We are bound by what we cannot pay in the smoky haze of the boring way. The silver clinks against the china plate, a feast prepared for those who tempt their fate. She sits enthroned in velvet shadows deep, while secrets in her hollow coffers keep. No thunder heralds when the lightning strikes. She knows the jagged edge of what she likes. The wine is poured with steady porcelain grace, a mask of calm upon her marble face. The air grows thin inside this gilded cage. She turns the corner of the final page. The trap is sprung beneath the velvet glove. A cold design disguises gentle love. And then it comes the flash of pearly white, a setting sun against the coming night. The curve of lips that signals your decline. The nectar turning into bitter brine. She bears her teeth in such a holy way to bless the ruins where you used to stay. The sweetest curve before the killing blow. She reaps the harvest that you dare to grow. And then it comes the flash of pearly white, a sudden sun against the coming night. The curve of lips, it signals your decline. The nectar turning into bitter brine. She bares her teeth in such a holy way to bless the ruins where you used to stay. The sweetest curve before the killing glow. She reaps the harvest that you dare to grow. Your signature is drying on the sheet, while ruin tastes like honey in the heat. She watched you climb just so the forward sting, a queen who strips the feathers from the wing. The keys are gone, the garden gates are locked, the foundations of your weary castle rocked. She never raised her voice to claim the prize, just stood there with those calm and hungry eyes. The air grows thin inside this gilded cage. She turns the corner of the final page. The trap is strung beneath the velvet cloak. A cold design disguised as gentle love. And then it comes a flash of pearly white, a setting sun against the coming night. The curve of lips that signals your decline. The nectar turning into bitter brine. She bares her teeth in such a holy way to bless the ruins where you used to stay. The speedest curve before the killing blow. She reaps the harvest that you dare to go. And then it comes a flash of pearly white, a setting sun against the coming night. The curve of lips that signals your decline. The nectar turning into bitter wine. Bears your teeth in such a holy way to bless the ruins where you used to stay. The sweetest curve before the killing blow.